talk to me. What were some things that you wrote about? How are repeated addition and multiplication similar? How are they related? I should see lots of hands because this was your quick write. Get out of your desk. Aiden, how are they related?
Because repeated addition is a way to solve the multiplication.
Okay, so we know that they could both solve the same kinds of equations. I like it. Billy, how are they related?
The same thing because groups of the same thing as that, which is multiplication.
Okay, so we have groups of. I like that language. We know that multiplication means groups of. Very good. Kate, how are they related?
Shows how many groups of whatever that number is. To show the extra.
You're on a good path, Kate. I'm not sure that makes sense yet. Kylie?
Like if I have 7 groups of 3, that is multiplication and also addition because you do the same thing for addition. You can like put them into groups, which you do with multiplication too.
All right, so Kylie gave a good example. I see her math. She said 7 groups of 3, which was a random example she came up with. If she did a repeated addition equation, how many times would she add 3? Yeah. 3 plus, oops, that doesn't look like a 3. Nope. And they would equal the same number. That's awesome. So I'm seeing 7 groups, and then I have 7 3s. So you see how I have my math, I've chalked out some sentences, I have arrows explaining what I'm doing. This is the kind of thing that I'm looking for a good quick write. Dorian?
And also, if you look at the end of the word, they both have on.
Sure. Sure. All right, we're going to continue on. We've learned about visual models that we can show groups of with a visual model. What was the visual model that we learned yesterday? If you have no idea, you have a notebook full of knowledge. Look in your notebook. Don't sit there and do nothing. Leo?
Dots and circles.
Circles and dots. Circles and dots. Which one represents the groups? Is it the circles or the dots? Circles are my big groups. And then dots represent how many are going in each group. Very good. Today, we're going to learn another visual model called an array. And we've already started talking about arrays. They're in our math vocab. But arrays are arranged in rows and columns. Make your arms go up, straight in the air. Those are columns. Up and down is columns. Now make your arms go like this, side to side. Side to side are rows. Show me columns. Rows. Columns. What you doing? Rows. Rows.
That almost got me.
Rows. Columns. Rows. Columns. Hearts to Ms. Miller. Yay! Alright, next blank page in your math notebook. I want you to title it Arrays. After you have titled the next blank page in your math notebook, please get out your counters, and counters only. I do not need base 10 pieces, just your counters. So Billy, you look confused. Title the next blank page Arrays, and then get out your counters, please. Somebody read this equation with the groups of language. William? 6 groups of 2. 6 groups of 2. When we are building an array, this first number is going to represent the number of rows. So draw an arrow to your number 6, and you're going to write the number of rows? Number of rows. Get your math notebook out, please. Did you draw an arrow pointing to your number 6? Come on. I'm not asking for anything complicated. And then you're going to write number of rows. Right, the second number, that 2 in our equation, circle it, and you're going to write this number represents the number of columns. You have to write what I have in underlined in red and blue and make sure it's pointing at the right number. So again, that first number, and in this case, number 6, is representing the number of rows. The number 2 in my equation, the second number in my equation, is representing the number of columns. With the red side of your counters, you're going to make one column, and there's going to be 6 red counters, just like I've done it. That sounds tricky because we just learned that our first number is supposed to be our rows, and it will be. We will have 6 rows going sideways. You're building this with your counters. You're not drawing it in your notebook right now. All right, our second number is a 2, which means we need 2 columns. So now we're going to do another column of 6 with red right next to my first column of 6. So on your notebook with your counters, you should have a shape that looks like this. Remember, our first number, that 6, tells us how many rows there are. Look at my rows. Ready? 1. Why are we not writing? 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Give me a thumbs up if you see 6 rows. William and Ashley are the only ones I see that have thumbs up. How many columns should I have? Look at the equation. How many columns should I have, Kylie? 2. 1, 2. That make sense? Okay, I want you to draw a 6x2 array in your notebook. Notice how neatly I did my rows and columns. They're not all floating around. Yours should be very neatly drawn in your notebook. A 6x2 array. We're going to do one of these together. We're going to build it first. Then you're going to draw it in your notebook. So move your counters off your notebook. We're going to build a 4x3 array. Yes, build a 4x3 array with your counters. What is that going to look like? Think about your rows. Think about your columns. Get started. We need 4 rows, so I'm going to make my counters going down with 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. That way I have my rows ready to go across. I need 3 columns. How many columns do I have right now? Show me with your fingers. How many columns do I have right now? Dorian? I just have 1, right? Yeah, I need 2 more. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Are there any questions about how to make an array? So Ashlyn brought up this point earlier. She noticed that they're already in groups of, just like when we did circles and dots. That will help you skip count. Could I count every single dot? 1, 2, 3. 4, 5, 6. Yes, I could. But this array helps me, just like circles and dots, help me to skip count. 3, 6, 9, 12. 4 by 3, 4 groups of 3. 4 times 3 is 12. You must make everyone out of counters, but you're only going to put 2 of them in your notebook. So make them all with your counters first, and then choose which one you want to draw in your notebook. Ashlyn?
So we actually have 3 in our notebook?
Yeah, because you have the first one we did together. Okay, does that make sense? Alright, start making the rest of these with your counters, and then you're going to draw 2 of them in your notebook.